it's interesting because we've had such a strong rally the last couple of weeks, last month or so. It's been very easy to get kind of exuberant about it and want to go super aggressively long on some stuff. But you and I have been talking, and I've been a little bit cautious about things. I think everyone's trying to figure out, all right, where are we? Is this just a small blip in this otherwise upward trajectory that we've seen, or is it the start of maybe a bigger drawdown based on some macro factors?
Whenever there's a big macro market, crash or swing upwards, I feel like, it's just human nature that, mass hysteria, everyone overcorrect. I feel like the market's maybe overcorrected downwards a bit, and now we're kind of in a sideways range for a while.
Tesla's obviously had a really strong year considering everything going on in macro, but a lot of the other kind of growth names have been just completely whacked. So as we put on some of these short positions, they've done reasonably well so far. Some of our long names, especially Tesla, have really outperformed a flat to down markets.
Let's move on to the big news of the day, yesterday and today, though, is Elon taking the biggest stake in Twitter of any shareholder. I think that's great news for not just Twitter stock, but also for our freedom of speech and censorship.
Twitter has, and most social media, has gone too far in kind of the censorship camp. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit there and things that they could be doing better. I think just a more open dialogue of different points of view would be beneficial. Pushing back a little bit on some of that culture would go a long way.
I think it's really good long term for the stock. And in short term, the price has gone up because I think enough investors are, realize long term this is very good for Twitter stock to become, for Twitter to be more of a viable business in the future if Elon Musk is playing a big role.
So much of media, both traditional and frankly a lot of social media lately has just been like so incredibly inherently biased and mostly in one direction. So I think opening that up and just kind of letting a little fresh air into this social media platform is probably a good thing.
But let's move on, I guess, to the main event. Tesla, they had their production and delivery report a few days ago, about 310,000, I think, delivered and 305,000 produced, something like that. So I think that's about exactly in line with the midpoint of what people expected. Traditionally in years past, Q1 has been a tough quarter to match the previous year's Q4.
Inventory was really tight coming into this quarter, so I didn't really think it was going to be possible for them to draw down inventory. And demand just being so kind of like off the charts high, people are taking like whatever Tesla they can get. But to quickly orient everyone here, the way I like to do this is we have the previous month's actuals here, column N. Then column O is going to be my projections for next quarter. Getting down here to full self-driving. So what this is saying is that there's $573 million of full self-driving cash that's intake. Only 42% of that gets recognized on the income statement. It has huge potential to kind of disrupt the traditional finance industry. There's a very limited pool of assets that MakerDAO accepts as collateral to back these types of loans, but they are interested in kind of continuing to expand which assets could be used as this collateral.
If anyone outside of China, it seems like Polestar has a legitimate shot at being relevant in the EV marketplace.
Awareness in general is growing, and there appears to be way more demand than they're capable of supplying, even once these new plants are up and running. Total shot in the dark would be, I don't know, maybe 5 million units a year between them, something like that.
Tesla's too big of a market cap, too liquid at this point for shorts and market makers to really move the stock around. There are going to be more locations, but I think just as important or more important than the new locations is expanding the current factories.
How much it costs to transport that electricity, which, as I said, is like double the cost of the generation. But over time, I think having localized electricity generation with some solar backup to minimize the amount of like grid transportation that we need is probably going to be more economical, but also will result in more like grid resilience.